There we go. How's that? Presume that's good. Yeah, basically, so I was like, I'm trying to spruce up the intro section with some music around the waiting, because I like to start the stream like 5 minutes before I actually go live, like start, so that people get a chance to get their notifications and get on. Otherwise, I spend the first 10 minutes talking to nobody. And then I wanted to add our video splash that you see on YouTube and our main sponsor splash. And that was a bit weird. I'm going to have to test that out. Did that seem to go well for you guys watching? I don't know. Like, it was supposed to go from the starting soon screen with the chill music to the Red Dragon video to the CanHammer video and then to me. That's kind of what's supposed to happen. But anyway, welcome to CanHammer TV, everybody, on this Wednesday night. I feel like you should all be honored that I'm streaming tonight because the Raptors are playing right now. And I'm one of the OG Raptors fans from the beginning. And before I moved to Ottawa, I used to go to every single game because my dad used to get seasons from one of his clients, so including playoffs games. So feel honored that I'm streaming instead of watching Raptors. Also, I don't actually have cable, so what I'm doing for these games is like watching like the 10-minute compressed versions of the games afterwards. But if we get to the finals, I am going to watch those full games. Possibly even go to a game. Try, anyway. But, because that would be a chance in a lifetime. Because this is basically it for the Raptors. We don't do it this season. We don't do it ever. So yeah. But welcome to CanHammer TV. We're going to have a good episode tonight. We're going to talk about CanHammer Team Tournament, which happened last weekend. We're going to talk about my thoughts on the FAQ and Yanari. We're not going to be getting a podcast on that, so you'll have to just settle with my opinion. But don't want to belabor the point too much. There's been so many podcasts covering the FAQ and Yanari and stuff, and, we don't want to just do what everyone else is doing. So we'll talk about that a little bit, and feel free to input your thoughts into the chat, of course. And then we'll be talking a little bit about Capital City Bloodbath, because that is our next big event, and you will going to give you guys who watch the stream a sneak peek to what we're planning for Capital City Bloodbath. And we're going to be giving away 2 books because I've been away in Japan and out of the loop. So we are going to be giving away 2 books tonight, which are not 40K related, but the Slanesh book, Hedon Knights of Slanesh, and the Fire Slayers book. So we're going to be giving away these 2 books tonight at the end of the show. Spanky100, remind me who you are in real life so I can make fun of your worst performance at CanHammer Team. So welcome everybody on this Twitch stream that includes Spanky100, Kevin from Basement Collective, Strazius, and anyone else who's watching. So thank you very much for tuning in. Yeah, as I mentioned, I was away in Japan for 2 weeks, which was one of the best trips I've ever been on. I didn't take the kid, just a very adult trip. Lots of walking, lots of eating. If you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, you will have seen that Weber, hey, Spanky. Yeah, drive safe, Weber. You will have seen that I basically was eating all the time, which was great. You can't go to Japan and not eat well, and we definitely ate well. It was amazing. Anybody who can make it out to Japan should go check it out. It's an amazing place. The culture shock was not going. The culture shock was coming back and being like, what is this, like, junk airport, and what's the crappy food here, and the service sucks. It's like such a shock coming back. For that first week, it was just like, what is happening here? It's like, it was so weird adapting to that again. But anyway, got my first game of 40K in last night since I got back. Played against Jean and his Catechins, bringing the Baneblade back and I was playing my latest incarnation of my Custodes list as I get ready for TGX, which is in July in Toronto. And so that was fun. I haven't played a lot of the new ITC missions, and so it's fun to get some game on. Ended up being super close. Made a couple of vital errors, which might have made it closer or a win for me. Man, my dice were cold. I don't blame my dice, but to some extent, Custodes players rely on their 4-ups and their 2-ups, and when you're not making those, even lasguns kill you. And lasguns were killing me, mortars were killing me. And John's dice were really hot. Even Ben, who was watching the stream, was like, "Whoa, that was some hot dice." But anyway, it was still a good game. He just pulled it out. Turn 6 was a 4-point swing. If he didn't kill that one guy, it would have been like a 2 or 1 point game. So it was pretty close in the end. Always have great games with Jean. So that's fun. You can watch that replay on Twitch, and that will come out on YouTube probably next week. Francois's first bat rep came out today on the YouTube channel. Francois is very excited about filming more content for us. He plays a lot. He plays against me a lot, but he plays against other people a lot, AOS and 40K. He's got the bug for filming. He filmed his experience at CTC, which was released last week. And so if people have thoughts and compliments for Francois, do encourage him because it'd be really nice to have other people making content other than myself, and just more content for everybody. So do let him know if you appreciate what he's doing, and give him some tips or what you want to see, and he'll get it done. So that's great, and it's good to have Francois contributing some content. Just an update for listeners and viewers about our Patreon. So right from the beginning, we've always promised that none of our content would be behind a pay gate. So we have never charged for content access. There's never been content that was released to patrons only. Everything has always been available. The people who have supported us on Patreon up to this point, mostly because they like what we do. Occasionally, a few people have just patroned for some of the gifts and bonuses that you get, and then kind of left right after that. Right now, to my mind, and I'll be happy to admit this, there does not seem to be a lot of value to being a patron other than contributing to us making content. And so I want to change that. And also I find it's a lot of effort, and the patron interface is not very good at helping me keep up with getting people what they are supposed to be receiving from Patreon. So we have decided as of June to switch over to a flat patron rate of $5. That's a trend that's a lot of podcasts are doing right now. Instead of doing like 1, 5, 10, 20, whatever, just a flat rate of contribution. And I feel like people are going to get more value for their flat rate than trying to separate into different ranks and making things difficult and tricky and confusing. So for the $5, you're going to, again, there will be no pay-gated content, but you will be the people who can win these giveaways. So no longer will I be giving these away to random viewers. If you're a patron, you can win giveaways. So if we only have 10 patrons, there's 1/10 chance of winning these things. Also, patrons, with our new sponsorship with Red Dragon, patrons are going to get some pretty nice discounts. Officially, I can't say what it is, but it's going to be pretty nice. So definitely worth your $5 to get that amount of discount. And that will be both in store at the Red Dragon store, which is in Ottawa, obviously, and online. So do give that a consideration. And also, I'm going to be overhauling the Discord so that it is much more populated, and there'll be a channel for patrons only, and we'll be sure to be using that much more widely as we go forward. So hopefully add some value to your $5. So that's what we'll be changing the Patreon to. There's potential that, our Patreon drops right down to hardly anything, in which case we'll probably drop it completely. I don't really, we just kind of bank the Patreon money, and occasionally we'll buy the small stuff with it. We don't really save it for big stuff. So We do appreciate patrons helping us to upgrade equipment and pay for podcast hosting and things like that. So hopefully people will stick with us and find that the new structure is both easier and way more value for people. So that update was coming in June. Also, June 1st will be the grand opening of Red Dragon Comics, Cards, and Games, or what I like to call Red Dragon CCG. This is the new store opened by Dan and Dylan here in Ottawa. It's going to be massive. They already got 25 tables of great terrain so that they can hold GTs. And we will be moving Power Fist and Psychers there permanently so that every Power Fist and Psychers can be a 5-round GT. And they'll take over the planning and running of that so that we can actually do them regularly, because otherwise it was depending on me or Chris to be free, and we're kind of busy people. So hopefully with the store taking over the running of Power Fists and Psychers as well as Day of Bloods, those things are going to happen every month or every 2 months. Super excited about our sponsorship with Red Dragon. And as I say, patrons are going to benefit from that. And I think also people who live in the region will also benefit from having a lot more events to go to. So that's going to be the official home of CanHammer. We're going to be right on the front of the store, as well as the guys from Anvil of War. So it's going to be super exciting to have like a home base. We're going to set up a little streaming area in the back where we'll be able to stream bat reps and things like that on site. And there's apparently, Dan said, there's going to be a little TV in the store where people can watch the stream live in the stores. That'll be pretty cool. So there's big plans there. So that they're opening June 1st. They're opening with a 40K tournament right on opening day. The next weekend is the AOS tournament, and then they're having a tournament every weekend basically for like the first month. So it's going to be a big deal. If you're in the area, check it out. Red Dragon Comics, Cards, and Games. You can find them on Facebook right now. And you saw the little logo before this video started. Let's see. Before we start, CanHammer team. Hey, Nonner13, welcome. And okay. So we'll talk about CanHammer team first. Then we'll talk about let's talk about Capital City right now. So our next big event, Capital City Bloodbath, presented by CanHammer and Red Dragon CCG. This is August 16th to 18th. Yes, Friday to Sunday. This is our biggest annual event. Probably, hopefully, will be the biggest singles 40K tournament in Canada. We had 104 last year. We are going to be aiming high for about 150 this year. And it's going to be epic. We'll be at the same venue, the EY Center up in Ottawa, which is an amazing venue. It's basically an aircraft hangar, beautifully lit, and we will be trying to spring for the carpet again. Because the carpet is nice, it's good on your feet, it's way quieter, and when you drop your dice, it doesn't go all the way across the hall. So we're seeing if we can get that carpet again. Last year it was an accident that we got the carpet, but it was super nice. So we'll see. We'll see how we can do with the carpet. What we're planning is 3 days. The Friday will be smaller events. The timetable and schedule events is not set, but it will probably involve doubles of 40K and or AOS, probably involve a Night Vault tournament, and other things like Free Blades. I know that the guys from Free Blades, the actual company making it, is coming to run a Free Blades event at Capital City Bloodbath. So if you're interested in looking at or trying or playing in Free Blades, the company will be there. So that's a big thing that Andrew has been organizing. There'll be Batman again, I believe, Rumble Slam, all those sort of things. So those will kind of be Friday events, and then Saturday and Sunday will be the big singles 40K and AOS championships. We're hoping for 50 to 80 people this year for AOS and getting up to 150 for 40K. So it's going to be definitely Canada's biggest singles tournament. It's going to be pretty sweet. What we're planning this year is Dan and Dylan at Red Dragon are the main sponsors for the whole tournament. They're providing all the prize support. So what that allows us to do is to make sure we have things like carpet and a great experience, good food for people. It's already an excellent venue. As you know, there's plenty of space around every table. And I'm happy to announce that we will be flying the Honest Wargamer, Rob and John from the Honest Wargamer, over to cover the tournament for us and provide a live stream. We've invested in amazing internet. They will be coming over and covering at least 2 tables of 40K and possibly an AOS table. We're going to have a commentary team with local celebrities such as Val and Mike Scott and Peter the Falcon providing commentary, as well as myself. So you'll have a rotating cast of commentators and roving reporters. So it's going to have full coverage. It's going to be streamed all weekend. 2 or 3 tables is going to be awesome. So even if you can't come, and I hope you can, you'll be able to follow a lot of the action on the CanHammer as well as the Honest Wargamer sites. And so I'm super excited about that. I've met Rob in person at Adepticon. I've spoken to him many times. He's been on CanHammer. So that's going to be so fun and so amazing. His coverage is really quite top-notch. While he's here, he's going to be in Canada for 2 weeks. We're going to be filming some bat reps and doing other content with him. So I think that'll be pretty sick. So it's a great opportunity. Phil Zor, welcome. Is that you, Phil? And the Commandant. All right. So I'm super excited about Capital City Bloodbath. I'm not even playing in it, and I'm super excited about it. But I love running a good tournament, and I think it's going to be a great tournament. I want to emphasize to people that even if you don't like competitive 40K or AOS, you should really come to Capital City Bloodbath. It's such a great event. Maybe only 10% of the people there are there to actually play hard and win it. Everyone else is just there to have fun and play 5 games or 6 games of 40K or AOS and have a great time. And people always have a great time. It's a great venue, great food. And so I really encourage people to come, even if you're not feel like you're up for a tournament or whatever. It's just a weekend of gaming. Think of it that way. It's a weekend of gaming, and you're going to have a great time and meet a lot of people, and those are the people you're going to see there every year. So it's really worth traveling for, and a great event for that. The other thing I want to announce, and it's not fully confirmed, but we will be running the painting competition again this year. This is not part of the tournament, although the tournament will have best painted scores. It is a separate painting competition that you will actually submit a model or a squad or like different categories of stuff in, and it will be judged. Our judges, I won't announce our judge yet, but there will be a separate judge, not one of the players, who's a great local painter, and they will be judging and giving out prizes for best, single model, best squad, best vehicle, best large model, stuff like that. Just like Weber did a couple of years ago. So it's going to be nice to have this little completely separate, kind of like our own Golden Demon sort of competition. So that's really exciting. Let's see. I think that about covers it. It's going to be a super weekend. People should definitely put it on their calendars and make efforts to come. We have super cheap room blocks right at the Hilton across the street. Literally, it's right next to the airport. You could walk to the EY Center from the airport and walk to the hotel from the EY Center. It's all really convenient. And summer is a great time to be in Ottawa. It's usually amazing weather. And so lots of reasons to come. So much more information and precise details, registration details, all that stuff will be announced very soon. We're having a meeting on Friday to finalize things, so you should expect it kind of early to mid-June. I think you'll get all those details, maybe earlier. We like to start a little bit earlier because we're a bit late this year because we had to wait till after CanHammer Team. Cool. So people have questions about Capital City, just let me know. I can answer it as we go. Z Commander says, damn straight, come in the bottom half each year, only there for the Beastmen to throw poop. Yeah. Great tables. It is always great tables, and we always try and provide a high quality play experience. So wish you lived in the area. It sounds cool. You don't have to live in the area, man. You can just come anyway. Okay. So CanHammer Team was good. I unfortunately had to leave after the Saturday, and what was funny was so we had a player pull out from Dominic's team, and so I ended up playing my Custodes bike spam list for 2 games, and then on the third game, Chris played it, but I sat there coaching him on how to play the list because he never played it before, and then he apparently went 1-1 the next day as well. So it was pretty funny. So the TOs kind of were ringers. I think it went pretty well. Congratulations to Scari's team. Scary, whose team was ETC Rejects. So the Canadian ETC team basically got split into 2 teams of 5. And so they both did pretty well the tournament. As you can imagine, Scari's team won it. Team CanHammer did pretty good. I think they came in 3rd or 4th. So it was a nice... good tournament. We were in a hockey arena, and basically we spread 50 tables to the whole arena. It was a massive space. It was a little bit cold, but it was a massive space. The food, we had some catered food. It was pretty good. Tables were good. So, yeah. Money is tight. Yeah, no, I understand that. No, I definitely understand that. You live in Florida. Oh, it's not that far. Oh, you can come from Florida for sure. No, I get it. It's actually cheaper to fly in from the States than it is to fly across Canada, if that's any consolation. It's cheaper to fly here from anywhere in the States than it is to fly from like Calgary or Winnipeg. So that's definitely a thing. But if you want to make it your one tournament that you travel to a year, highly recommended. Highly recommended. So CanHammer team was fun. I won't talk too much in detail. If you want to find out details about how teams were doing individually, I'm sure it's going to be covered on Scari's channel. I'm sure Dustin's going to cover it on Stutter Scrub. So you can definitely look out for on those sort of other podcasts. Yeah, 360, that's cheap these days, man. Although, these days you don't even get a seat for that amount. And you don't get shit for anything these days on an airplane. Fun fact. So speaking of airplanes, we flew to Japan first class, not because I bought it, but because we had enough points accumulated over years. So we thought, what the hell? Let's go first class. And, that on Japan Airlines, and that was quite the experience, I tell you. And we didn't even get the full experience. The full experience is flying from Tokyo Japan Airlines first class, not from Chicago. And because the Tokyo lounge, you have a separate lounge for first class, separate check-in, separate security. And then you get this like sushi guy just making sushi for you continuously in the lounge. You get a separate boarding area. Like, it's pretty sweet, but not in Chicago. You're just like with everybody else. But it was pretty sweet. The pods were obviously large. I would say the width of my seat was like a small couch. And the pod was very long enough for them when you needed to sleep. They actually put a mattress down. So you actually had like a bed. And it was a 14-hour flight, so it was pretty good. And then so when we had our meal, my wife was sitting in her pod. They pulled out this table, and I actually sat in her pod on the opposite side of the table. We ate this meal across from each other in a pod, which is crazy. And then it was like a 15-course omakase meal, beautiful food, all little nice ceramics and everything. There was only 4 people in first class, including us 2, and there was 8 cabin crew just for us 4 people. So needless to say, it was pretty nice. But is it worth $26,000? Nuh-uh. A business class ticket is like $6-7 grand. It's not worth 4 times a business class ticket. But if you got a bunch of points, it only costs us $200 because of tax. So if you can fly first class for 14 hours, that's pretty sweet for $200. Definitely recommend it. But yeah. Definitely a cool experience, but I would never. No, I don't think it's really worth it, but pretty cool. Anyway, enough talk about airplanes. So 360, to fly up to Ottawa, that's pretty good. You're gonna find that the USD goes quite long up here, and you'll probably be able to stay in the Hilton for like $60-$70. So it's pretty cheap because Andrew works at the Hilton, so he gets pretty sick room rates there. So it's actually all the food and everything's included. We haven't decided on the registration fee, but it's not going to be, if any, more expensive, maybe only slightly more expensive than last year. And we're pretty cheap for a 6-round tournament with all the food included. So for such a nice venue. So, all in all, it's probably the cheapest. If you were going to travel for a War 40K tournament, it's going to be your cheapest tournament to travel to. So I do encourage people. I'm going to be talking to a whole bunch of people to get them to come in, so I think it's going to be a pretty sweet event. But really, what we really need is we need people to come who wouldn't otherwise come to tournaments, because that's what it's about. As I say, that 10-15% of people who go to all the tournaments, they're going to be there regardless. Even if you play one of them first round and you lose, it's still going to be a fun game, and then you're going to have a great time the whole weekend. So I do encourage everybody who plays 40K to come to the tournament, meet some new people. You'll have so many more people to play with afterwards. It is definitely worth it. And part of the success last year was that we mobilized a whole segment of people in the local area who had never been to tournaments before, and they all came and told us how much fun that they had. And so I really encourage people to come for that. Strazius, I know you're going to be there, man. I know you're going to be there. Cool. Let's talk FAQ. So the FAQ was released while I was in Japan. And of course, we were planning CanHammer team, and so we had a big vote about it, and everybody decided, despite it being literally like 8 days before the tournament, that we were going to use the FAQ. It was almost a completely unanimous vote by the captains, which is great. I can understand why people didn't want to use the FAQ, and the main team that didn't want to, they ended up dropping. But nobody wants to play old 40K. Nobody. Last year, CanHammer team, we had bad experiences on people getting tabled by 7 Dark Talons, 7 Flyrints, things like this that had already been nerfed in the FAQ, but the vote was not to use it, and those were bad play experiences. So this year there was, we just voted to use the FAQ and use the Yannari rules as well, which were not officially released but were all completely leaked. So literally our tournament had no Yannari and had fewer Castellans probably than would have been, and it was actually a great event. So let's talk about some of the big things about FAQ. I won't go into every single little FAQ. Oh, I just spoke to Siri by accident. Not Siri, Alexa. That's interesting. Anyway, so let's talk about flyers. So the big boogeyman list right now is Eldar flyer spam. We're talking 6-7 Eldari flyers. And that is a very strong list. It will table the pants out of a bunch of people and will be very competitive. And people are like, oh, you just boots on the ground though. Well, guess what? It's not that easy to do, because you got to get around move blocking flyers, and you have to survive them, and you have to find these little dudes that are hiding places. And even if you do that, as of chapter approved, it doesn't table you anymore. It just means you can't hold objectives, and you can still get tabled. So the flyer list is good. On one hand, GW has taken a very graded approach instead of just boom, no more flyers. Like what they could have said is your army can only have 3 flyer roll max. So they could have said that, and then that would be flyer spam gone basically. The thing about Eldari is because they have so many books that all go together, and they each have 1 or 2 flyers, so you can play them all together. And then, of course, it wouldn't matter if you were playing Space Marine flyers, because they suck, but they're all Eldar flyers. They all have Psychers. They all have -1, -2, -3 to hit. They all have crazy weapons. They can turn on a dime 3-4 times during one movement phase, so they barely don't have to move. And they're just really, really good. So that's the insult to injury with the Eldar flyers, because they can all work together. There's a whole bunch of them, and they're all really good. So they did a couple of changes. First of all, they made it so that for sure you cannot deploy with your flyer's wings hanging off the table. So some people were doing that, fitting their bases on the table, and all the wings were hanging off to maintain a small deployment. So you can't do that. I think it was pretty clear that you couldn't do that anyway, but they made it super clear that you can't do that. Then they made that it's harder to move block with flyers. So by move blocking, if you put a line of flyers in front of some infantry and they don't have fly, they cannot move past the flyer, which doesn't make sense lore wise. Like, why can't I walk under this thing that's supposed to be 30,000 feet in the air? Like, it makes no sense, right? But because of the way that bases work in 40K, it was just a thing. So now they made it that you can walk through it, but you still have to end up over an inch away from the base. So a flyer base is like, that big, your average flyer base. And so, if you don't have good movement, you're not going to make it all the way across with your whole unit a lot of times, or if you'll have to advance. So it's really about things like things that have fast movements now benefit from that. So orcs with their like extra moves and advances, gene stealers are going to move like 40 inches a turn. So now those things are not going to get blocked in as much. But your average unit, or even like a 30-man orc unit, may not have enough move to get every single orc across that flyer base. And so all the flyer really has to do is to pre-measure the move and then just move back a few inches, and they're still blocking you. So it's harder, but it has not solved move blocking for the most part. And obviously it didn't limit the number of flyers you can take, and there was no nerfs to their points or any of their power. So really there's not been too much to nerf flyer spam, so we're still going to see that. So they, and so in order to implement this change, they made anything that has a minimum move, that's a flyer or a flying, or even if it's a Lord of War that got around the flyer restrictions before because they were Lords of Wars, not flyer roll. All of those things now gain the aircraft keyword. And then you get this restriction of the base thing. So that's how they kind of set that up. All right. A general thing about the FAQ was that there was a lot of clarifications in the main FAQ and also in almost all the Codex FAQs. It was just clarifying stuff because finally GW realizes that gamers gonna game, and English is an imperfect language. And so people reading things raw and versus intention, like these arguments all the time about stupid shit, quite frankly. And so they forced to clarify these things, which may seem obvious to one person. It seems obvious in a different way to another person. So there are a lot of clarifications in this round of FAQs, which is great because that's what we need to stop these silly arguments. Unfortunately, some of the clarifications have created other arguments, but it's less than we had before. All right, they clarified the thing that, for example, a demon prince is a demon prince. You can't have demon princes from different books. You can't have 27 mortars because a mortar team is a mortar team, whether it's Krieg or this or this or this. Mortar team is a mortar team. So they kind of clarified those sort of slight loopholes to the rule of three, which is cool. They were forced to write a little blurb about wobbly model. Anyway, I won't go into that, but people using the term wobbly model for things that, quite frankly, they shouldn't be using it for. Okay, so way back when, the Smash Captain, this 129-point little motherfucker, would just kind of sit on the top of like a 40-inch tall building and then would have a 0-inch charge and drop down on you and kick some ass. So when they saw this being abused at, I think it was Nova last year, they decided that they needed to fix it, which was right, because the Smash Captain is super strong and could basically one-shot anything, and that was obviously abusive and not what was intended. So they said, no more fly, other than in the movement phase. No more fly. And so that's fine. That did nerf the Smash Captain. They disappeared. But it also nerfed a whole bunch of other flying things. So Custodes Bikes was one that hit me, for example. Lots of other things. So in the charge phase, you can't go over anything, which really limits fly. So obviously that was maybe a little bit overdone, and so they've done the change now, which I feel like they should have done in the first place, which is you can fly, but you can only fly over models, not including buildings. You cannot fly over scenery in the charge and combat phase. So that's fine. So all these things are functionally better now again. People have to learn to screen again. I think we're going to start seeing some Smash Captains back, but it's not going to be any of these kind of 0-inch charge shenanigans. So I think that's fine. Yeah, that was a good change. That should have been the original change. And then so they went around a whole bunch of books that everybody has flying jump packs and clarified that in every single codex. So that's fine. All right. So bolter discipline finalized. I think everybody knew that was going to happen. Not on vehicles though. So people who were trying out Storm Ravens with Hurricane Bolters, or God forbid Land Raiders, can't do that. So they clarified who actually gets the Beta Bolter rule. Villain of the week. It does make me wonder how the rule of 3 affects Dreadnoughts, Furioso, Death Company, Wolf, and Venerable, since all these are copy paste. Yeah, I think those are just probably different enough, but I think that would need clarifying if anyone was actually playing with that many Dreadnoughts. Tongue in cheek. Dream Army, yeah. You can keep dreaming. I mean, you can make it a reality. Just yeah. So, but that's a good point. So the thing about bolter discipline, of course, is that they told Deathwatch that you can't bolter discipline and shoot your special ammo. Boom. Thank you very much, Steven65, for subscribing for 2 months. Very much appreciated. Thank you. So yeah, Deathwatch no longer get to shoot quadrillion shots with their special ammo. You either pick ammo or you pick your bolter discipline. So that's not a huge nerf, but it does make it. I don't think it changes how good Deathwatch is, to be honest. But it's a little bit of a nerf. But there we go. So the bolter discipline rule. Prepare positions, I don't think changed at all. So they clarified the CP regen. You cannot do it before the battle round. So people were putting down their grand strategists or their Kurovs and refunding all their deployment and their deep striking stratagems and the CP from the assassin and all that sort of stuff that happened before the first battle round. Can't do that anymore. So that's pretty clear, which is good. That's fine. Reserves, all that usual stuff. So they clarified that like the people who were deep striking Gene Stealers turn 1, which not a lot of people were doing, but you can make an argument for, can happen. So this sort of thing. So there were a few things in the whole game that they made sure that nothing was going to work. So turn 1 deep striking, not going to happen. Doesn't matter. 2-up invulns, not going to happen. Poor Grey Knights. Not going to happen. Russ and Bucks, thank you for subscribing. Twitch Prime, very much appreciated. Very much appreciated. So Grey Knight players have been crying because they're probably universally recognized as the worst book, despite the BrizCon win, the worst book in the game. And they had a little trick where they could get a Dread Knight dude up to like 2-up invuln. And now they're crying because that's gone, and they feel like, why did we get nerfed because we're the worst book? Well, you didn't get nerfed because you were the worst book. You were doing something that nobody was intended to have, and so they just fixed that. So you shouldn't have been doing that in the first place. Don't be surprised if they put you in line with everybody else. So anyway, no sympathy for the Grey Knights there. But so I believe the only 2-up invuln you can get now is the Archon with the little dispersion field, but once you roll a 1, like, it's gone. So and ain't no way we're going back up to like rerollable 2-up shit that we had in 7th. Okay, that was stupid. Nobody wants that. 3-up is perfectly strong enough. And if you roll like me, like I did last night, where I'm failing all my 3-up invulns, you'll be fine. So Deathwatch is pretty brutal from what I've heard. Yes, it is pretty brutal. And so putting bolter discipline on top of crazy ammo was like quite a lot. Okay, Strike from Shadows, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that stuff was all just solidifying. Balance review. Okay, so Knights. Let's talk about Knights. So there's various opinions about Knights, but most people share the opinion that the Castellan was too polarizing. Let's not say, maybe polarizing is the wrong word, but it was too much influence on the meta. One model that everybody has to build, either use or build to beat, and can win games for you. And so it has already been, there's been a round of nerfs on Knights since they came out already. So, and Knights have been so big in the meta since they came out. But the Castellan especially. And so first they nerf things like the CP cost of their stratagems and things like that. But that didn't really work because you can ally Knights with a Brigade of Guard and you have all the CP that you need. So really this round they focused on the Castellan a little bit and Knights in general. And so what they did this time was they made a max of 4-up invuln with the rotate. So, which is quite clearly what it should have been in the first place. I mean, whoever thought that a 3-up invuln, 28 wound T8 model that can blow your pants off was a good idea? Obviously demented. I mean, G-Man is a perfect example of something that's ridiculously hard to kill with a 3-up invuln, right? So to give a knight a 3-up invuln, it's just ridiculous. So that was obviously stupid. And so a 4-up invuln is much easier to kill than a 3-up. Like I don't know what the math is, but it feels that much easier to kill anyway. So that's a big one. And then they also increased the Castellan's points by 100 by changing its weapons by 100. And this is the first time they put points in an FAQ, I believe, because normally they save the point changes for the chapter approved. So that's pretty cool. So now it's like 700 points and can only go a 4-up invuln. It's still good, guys. It's still good. You raving that shit, you're still blasting some people to shit, right? It's still good. You just maybe not quite as good as before and a bit more points. But those lists could easily ditch 100 points of like random guardsmen or a couple of Bulgrin. Like the points is really not what matters. The point is it's easier to kill now. And the list that we're tooling to beat the Castellan, because you'd have to go through a Castellan list to get to the end of a GT. And it's not easier to kill it, but they could still kill it. So, as Brandon Garrett showed, you could still lose it in turn 2 and still win. So overall, that's probably taking the Castellan a bit down in the meta. We may not see as many Castellans. But lo and behold, what comes out when you create a vacuum? Stuff fills the space. So predictable what was going to happen was the Crash Crusader would fill that spot. Has almost as good firepower, is just as hard to kill, like 2 less wounds or whatever, and way less points. And you could almost run 2 of them for the price of a Castellan now. So let's just do that. Let's just Avenger Cannon everybody to death instead. And so now we're seeing triple Crash Crusader, four Crusaders. If you watch Francois's Bat Rep, he tables poor Peter in like 2-3 turns with triple Crusader. Super strong, hard to deal with, very hard to deal with. So the triple Crash Crusader is a thing. And so Knights are not gone. Knights are just as good as they were before. You're just going to see more smaller ones and less of the big ones. I've even seen some Valiants. But the knock-on effect, there's been... we'll talk about that now. So the Castellan going down a little bit in the meta probably. And then other anti-vehicle things going down in the meta. So Ynnari is gone, basically. I actually read through the White Dwarf before the show. There's some cool stratagems in there, but it's not you get to do everything twice for free every turn. So Ynnari's basically done. I don't think anybody's going to play Ynnari. All the people who were going to play Ynnari CanHammer team switched to something else. But Craftworld is still good, so watch out for Craftworld. They also nerfed Doom and Jinx so that you can only hit those. It only works if you hit them with other Eldar shooting. Like you can't doom somebody for Drukhari attacks. So that reduced a little bit of the soupy quality of Eldar. But as I say, Craftworld book is good. It's just that Ynnari was so much better. There's no reason not to take Ynnari. But the Craftworld book is very good. So we're going to see Craftworld. So double shooting Dark Reapers is not a thing. Crazy. Without all the Ynnari stuff, then probably Shining Spears aren't even half as good as they used to be. So double shooting spears and Reapers gone, so that's a big vehicle killer gone. And the other change, of course, was Ludas. So you can only mob up boys, not Ludas or tank busters. So yeah, good. Orc 75. Thank God no one's gonna miss Yunari. Fuck no. Yunari has been abusive since the minute they came out in 7th, and it survived 3 nerfs already. They've been nerfed 3 times, and it's just a feel bad army. They may not have won anything recently, but you just feel bad playing Yunari. It's just really a bad experience. So yeah, good riddance to Yunari. Anyway, so then, so Ludas, 15 Ludas kicking your ass is gone. 15 tank busters kicking your ass is gone. So a lot of anti-vehicle shit got toasted. So I think the main prediction is that we're going to start seeing more vehicles. And we already saw CanHammer team, the triple Shadow Sword list was back. Maybe 3 or 4 guys were running that. There was a lot of repulsor spam, but repulsors are pretty good because they're T8. And I'm bringing triple Caladius back. So if we start to see like freaking Rhino spam, I'm going to lose it. Maybe I can bring my Dark Angels Razorback spam back. I've been thinking about that. They're a bit too expensive. So who knows? We'll see what happens. Interestingly, so the Castellan left the meta. The meta has changed. And then guess what? The Castellan becomes counter meta. Because guess what? If all these people are bringing rhinos and chimeras and shit like that, you know what kills rhinos and chimeras really good? Castellan. So, funnily enough, it kind of loops back around and the Castellan becomes anti-meta. You heard it here first. Chaos Castellan. God, no. I'm not looking forward to this Chaos Night book because you know that there's going to be so much souping allowed that you're going to have Chaos Knights double shooting like Slanesh. You're going to have them like doing stupid chaos shit for it's going to be ridiculous. Knights with like 4 up freaking like Nurgle save, like it's going to be stupid. Like it really is. -2 to hit Knights with like the flies thing. Yeah, it's going to be silly. And you're going to see 3 Knights with Ahriman, 3 Demon Princes, 60 Plague Bearers. Like, what the fuck are you going to do against that? It's going to be bad. Yeah, it's going to be bad. All right, so anti-vehicle change, gone. Long live the vehicle. So let's see what happens. Okay, there were a bunch of powers that was like a thing where you had to beat the person. So Mental Onslaught, the Death Grip for Knights, and basically if you buffed your Patriarch with leadership buffs or debuffed your opponent or both, you would automatically beat your opponent on the leadership race, and you would do Immortal every time. And so you could one-shot a Castellan with 1 psychic power. That's obviously a feel-bad experience. It was never meant to be like that. When the Gene Stealer FAQ came out, for about 2 hours, it was capped at 6 mortal wounds, and then that was changed. That was super confusing. And now I think they've made a slightly better change, in my opinion, but not in the opinion of people who used to use that trick. If at any time your opponent rolls a 6, it's done. And apparently the math on that is that 3 or 4 mortal wounds on average. So that's obviously killed that trick. Although that's still pretty good, but then you might consider just smiting somebody. So the Mental Onslaught thing, you probably won't see it that much anymore. The whole Mental Onslaught bomb, although it's still a decent spell. And same thing with the Knight's Death Grip. You can break out if you roll a 6. So, but that was less abusive than the Mental Onslaught thing. Okay, Assassins got nerfed to 2 CP, which I think is very reasonable. Being able to splash an Assassin for 1 CP was way too low, and now also you can't regen those 2 CP. But of course, if your Assassin's killing characters, you're going to get that CP back. So for most armies that have a decent amount of CP, the Assassins are still extremely good. I think for my Custodes army, where I'm pretty low on CP, it becomes harder for me to justify now. But I think most Imperial armies are running Guard or shit like that should still be running an Assassin. Orcs, yeah. So Mob Up obviously got nerfed. Craft World Psychic Powers, Castellan. Okay. Let's just go through quickly and those were the main FAQs. What else got changed? Rulebook. Just going off the top of my head here, Harlequins became usable again because of the flip belt thing. Tau, they got the Kauyon thing fixed or clarified, that you can pick who you want to Kauyon and who can move. So that's useful because now they don't have to, they can Kauyon and pull people back and then shoot the fuck out of you. So Tau got a bit stronger. Tau definitely got meta stronger because they've lost a lot of things that would shoot them to death. Double shooting spears, shining spears, castellan, knights, all the things that used to rock them, orcs and their ludas, are now better. So are now worse. So I think Tau, we're gonna start seeing Tau. They're already pretty good. We're gonna see more. Oh yes, Strazia's drop pod doors. Okay. Hang on a second. Nick, you just click at the top where it says subscribe or follow, and then it'll say there Prime subscription. Okay. The Humble Drop Pod. Oh, by the way, Forge World re-releasing the Dreadnought Drop Pod, because guess what? The old model was impossible to assemble. And you couldn't get it. So now they're re-releasing the Forge World Dreadnought Drop Pod, which is like 150 points or something, so it's stupid. But anyway, you'll be able to buy it. Okay, the Humble Drop Pod, which I believe is like 80 points or 60 points or something like that. I don't know. I haven't looked at it in a long time. Okay, so the FAQ, now remember, FAQ stands for frequently asked questions. Okay, how frequently was this question being asked about whether the drop pod doors count as part of the model? I'd just like to know who was asking that question, because I personally have. I saw one drop pod at CanHammer team. I forgot to take a picture of it. My mind was blown. I was like, I need to take a picture of this drop pod, but I forgot. But I've not seen one of these guys in play. I mean, they make it onto my scenery table since 8th came out, basically. And even after the points lowered, they're just not good. And so the question to the chat while we talk about drop pods is, what would make you play drop pods? And I mean proper drop pods, like 4 to 8 drop pods, like we used to see. Boom, 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 boom. What would make you, let me know in the Twitch chat, what would make you play drop pods? But basically, somebody's been asking the question of whether these doors count. And flashbacks to 7th, when the question was, does this block line of sight? Does this block line of sight? Does this count when you drop down? All these questions about drop pods because people were using them back then. But now, according to this FAQ, frequently asked question, inquiring minds wanted to know, well, does it count? And now this is officially the footprint of a drop pod. All right, let's measure this up. When it's flat on the table, it is officially almost 10 inches across. And it's like a circle, basically, with the pedals. So all these doors count as the model now. This is a 10-inch diameter model with 9-inch no-go zone all the way around. So this creates a 14.5-inch radius denial zone for drop pods. Boom. Quarter of the table out of bounds, buddy. Sorry about that. Gene Stealers, sorry about that. Oh, sorry about that. 3 of these block up like almost 75% of the table. Yeah. So I think if you're running like G-Man repulsor list, just make like 120 points, 140 points space for a couple of drop pods. Just fuck up some armies, man. And if they don't, they just sit there and hold an objective for you. No problem. They still require some firepower to kill. You probably block a 3-inch radius to get on an objective. So literally for like whatever 60 points, you splash a couple of these in there, you're holding objectives or you're totally fucking up some armies. So drop pods are back, baby. 3 of these across the table, that's it. Fucked. You can't walk across them unless you got fly. If you put your drop pod doors touching, that's it. That's it. Like, you can't walk past them. You have to kill them. You could hold an army back in their zone for like a couple of turns. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. So I'm going to try that out one of these days soon, bringing 2 or 3 drop pods with some Dark Angels, see how that works. It's pretty funny. So anyway, obviously I think that's going to change again. So I wouldn't go and buy 8 drop pods, okay? Because then you're going to cry when they change it again. But obviously that's pretty stupid. Okay. In my opinion, what would, other than this, assuming it gets fixed, what would make me take drop pods is they need to be cheaper than a Rhino because they don't move. And they need to be coming in turn 1, as is thematic for like a Marine drop pod army. Okay, so if we can get armies dropping in, coming out, and shooting and charging shit, then drop pods become usable again at the current price. So they need to go to be the only thing that goes against the no turn 1 deep striking, and the doors can't count. And the people inside need to be able to get out and do shit. And then they'll be usable at their current price value. Because the people that you can put inside here are overpriced. Keep that in mind. So unless they come out with some Primaris drop pods, which they might do. So that's what I think. These things need to be even considered playable. Although I say splash while the doors are fucked up, splashing 1 or 2 of these might be a nice little tricksy thing you can do to fuck up some people. Yeah, so the question is, I don't think that this should be allowed to come in within 9, but I think the people should be able to come out and then move within 9. So you could get assault squads back, for example. So, yeah. So I think that would be what we need for drop pods to be viable again. Yeah, so I think if you drop a drop pod and like 5, Wolfen can't go in it, but like Blood Claws, 5 Blood Claws could come out and move 6 and now have like a 3-inch charge. I think that would be cool. And to get that ability, I would pay 60-something points or whatever the price is now. So I think that would be cool. Or like Death Company or something like that. So yeah, that'd be cool. Okay, what else changed? If I miss anything, please let me know if you want me to discuss something that happened in FAQ. AdMech is secretly awesome. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but AdMech is secretly awesome. Those freaking plasma breachers are crazy. So no chaos drop pods. Chaos getting too much shit. They don't need anything else. Okay, now they're getting knights. They don't need anything. Okay, enough chaos for now. All right. Necrons. Poor Necrons. Tyranids. Custodes. In other news, new Custodes flyer coming out. The gunship, which is kind of like the non-transport version of the Orion, I guess. It's not clear whether or not it's going to have 40k rules. I hope it does. And I hope that actually we get a book that consolidates what we need to do, because there's still a lot of anti-Forge World sentiment out there for some reason. Okay, there's like no Forge World rules, and I understand no Forge World rules. Okay, if for some reason you still have a stigma about that, fine. But the Custodes Forge World rules were written by GW. It's pretty obvious, and they've come right out and said that. And so not allowing me to play with GW rules, although it is Forge World models, is a little bit silly, especially since my book really has not very much in it otherwise. So really, people should treat the Custodes beta rules as GW rules and not discriminate against them just because they're on the Forge World website. So that's my Custodes rant for today. AdMech is low-key pretty dope. Yes, they are. Strasius, what's your opinion on whether Chaos Psychic Powers should have had the Eldar treatment? I think Chaos is way too soupy. It's even more soupy than Imperium, you think about it. They have way more things that cross these boundaries, and the fact that they have these gods really makes them super, super soupy, because Imperium doesn't really have these overarching 4 gods that you can give to anybody, right? So they could change little bits here and there. I personally find it really hard to understand how to even build a chaos list because of that, but yeah. Straight is, I want Forge World, I want my Malcolm. Yeah, really just like bring back Forge World. They already nerfed to shit all the other stuff that could cause any problems, but anyway, I've always been pro Forge World, as people know. Vigilus, Codex, Craft World. Yeah, so I think we're going to start seeing a lot of Craft World. We're going to see Fire Prisms. We're going to see Ulthway and LA Talk. We're still going to see a lot of flyers. Drukhari is still very strong by itself as a solo book. We're going to see Splash Harlequins because now they got their jump back. So I think Eldar is perfectly fine without Ynnari. Oh my god. Drukhari, Gene Stealers. Yeah, Gene Stealers got hit a little bit. So definitely no turn 1 Deep Strikes, which everybody knew they weren't supposed to have. And then there was something else that hit Gene Stealers. I can't remember. Can't remember. If somebody remembers, they can remind me. Orcs obviously got a bit nerfed. Being only able to mob up boys of certain unit sizes, that is not good. Ludas are still good in groups of 15, but you're not going to spend all the CPs maxing them out like you used to do. But they still got lots of T8 vehicles, Mega Knobs, good bikers. They got lots of stuff, so they don't really need that creative, cheesy way of playing. Orcs will be fine. So, use the rest of your book, guys. So I think Orcs would be fine. Necromunda. Okay, I think that's about it. Okay, if anybody has anything to discuss about the FAQ, let me know. I'll keep it up here for a second. No Deep Strike within. Oh yeah, so they just confirmed what we all knew, was that those eliminators, no, repulse, no, the Phobos guys who have the 12-inch no Deep Strike bubble obviously fucks up GSC a little bit. It means you can't drop in 3, but you can still drop in 12 and then do a D6 move. So it's really not a big deal. And then you got like +3 to charge, and it's not a big deal. It's way overblown. Or you have some Gene Stealers who can just run up from your deployment zone and kill them anyway. So it's not a big deal. People blown it way out of proportion. Obviously, as we mentioned, Mental Onslaught was nerfed. So yeah, you can't one-shot a Castling with your brain anymore. Oh, cry. So yeah. So and now they can run everybody past flyers. So Gene Stealer will be fine. So I played them at CanHammer Team. Well, Chris played them. This was the coaching game. I was running 18 Custodes bikes. It was against Jeff, and Jeff was running 30 Aberrants, and then like Acolyte squads with like Rock Saws, and then like still had points for like 100 guardsmen and a patriarch and all these characters and snipers and all this shit. It's really quite overwhelming. In fact, I probably had the best army to deal with that, like 18 hurricane bolters, and still Chris managed to pull out a 11-9 victory. But after we spent the whole game trying to kill 30 Aberrants, then all these acolytes came in with rock saws that are like hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s with all reroll 1s, and then like -4, like 50, like 3 straight damage, like crazy. Like 3 or 4 attacks each. It's really quite crazy. But so I don't feel sorry for Gene Stealer cult players at all. Okay. No Deep Strike rule affects Reavers with grapple hooks. It affects everybody, I think, and you cannot come in within 12 inches of those dudes. Yep, so I can't teleport Homer, Terminators within 12 inches of those dudes, so I think it just affects everybody. All right. So we talked about CCBB, talked about channel changes, Patreon changes. We talked about FAQ, Ynnari, not even worth talking about. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Over on the AOS side, it's been leaked. General's Handbook, next one coming out. Sylvaneth. AOS is going a bit crazy right now. Like a lot of stuff coming out, and the new General's Handbook probably going to nerf some eels, stuff like that. So we'll see. This new expansion comes out with all these endless spells and stuff that everybody can use. So it's really interesting that without releasing any new books, they can get people to buy all this shit. It's pretty smart. Lots of stuff coming out there. I've kind of fallen off the Nightfall boat a little bit. I haven't even opened the last 2 boxes. So at some point I have to get back on that boat. But yeah, okay. So before we go on, I'm going to give people the 5-minute notice to get on the Twitch chat. So we're going to be doing the giveaway soon in a few moments. And in order to win the giveaways, you need to be able to comment on Twitch. So if you're watching on YouTube and Facebook, thank you very much for doing that. But we don't check that chat. So everybody, if you want to win this, you're going to need to be on Twitch. So give people a few minutes to get on Twitch. These, of course, are Sigmar books, courtesy of Hoyt up at Thunder Games and Gifts. I'll be giving these away in a few minutes. I do need to think about skill testing questions, actually, don't I? Okay, so anybody have any questions? Anything to ask in the chat? Hobby-wise right now, I'm still trying to finish my Venatari. God knows why, but I started, so I'm going to finish them. But I don't think I'm ever going to use them. But cool model, so I'm going to finish painting them. Almost done. And then next up on the docket will be the Orion, which I have over there in that massive Forge World box. So that'll be my next project, and then I'm going to be painting up some Caladius tanks. I think, depending on my list, I might actually have to do the Caladius tanks first, because I'll need those for July. And the Orion will have to wait after that. So yeah, probably going to be Caladius tanks coming up, and then going on from there. Anybody in the chat play Gloomhaven? I have been part of a Gloomhaven group with Phil and Francois and Barney, and we've been having a great time playing Gloomhaven every week or every 2 weeks. Just on Monday, we all had a day off, and we played Gloomhaven the whole day. It's a great, great game. It's kind of like playing D&D, but easier. It's a great game, and people should try it out. But you do need to commit time and a group of people to play it regularly for you to get like the most out of it. So, yeah. All right. All right. Kill Team Elites. So Kill Team Elites came out, and I was very disappointed because Custodes was introduced to Kill Team in the Kill Team Elites box. I don't play Kill Team, but I was hoping that it would probably come out with like 3 guys, and that it would be like extra cool special Custodes models. But they were not. They're just normal Guardian models, so that's really disappointing. Because it'd be cool to get like some special Custodes models that maybe don't have as many feathers and things coming off of them, but they don't, so that's too bad. So I'm gonna go grab a book over there. I'll be right back. All right. Okay. So a couple more minutes and we'll be doing these giveaways. So what are people working on hobby-wise? I have assembled all the Phobos guys from the Shadow Spear box. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm ever going to get around to painting them or playing them, but they're there. I need to convert an Archeon into a zombie dragon. I don't think I'm ever going to get around to doing that. I have an extra storm cannon for my Telemon that I need to do at some point. It's building up. Ezra91AL, you're building some custards. What are you building, man? What are you building? Nick Blackburn, finishing K Suns and Demons, almost done and practicing. Good on you, man. You can come spank me with Demon Princes again at some point. Do I have the Chaos half of that set? No, I don't. I only bought the Shadow Spear side. Z Commandant, adding Bulgors to your Beastmen. Always good to have a few more bulls in the pen. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'd like somebody to come play Beastmen on the channel. If you play Beastmen, come play in the channel. We need it. Come play it. Space Wolves from the Shadow Spear box and 20 times Wolves. Yes. I still have Fenrisian Wolves for sale. People want Fenrisian Wolves. At one point, I had like 50 of those. Blood Angels, Lamenters for me, working on Death Company. Yes, I think Smash Captains are back, so Blood Angels might have some play. So definitely. Russ and Bucks painting my Nurgle army, painting my Dwarf army. Had that one forever. Cool. Ezreal 19, normal custodian guards, all spears already have several swords and shields. Yeah, I think that's a nice way of running. If you run 3x3, to have one in each group with a shield, because that 3 invuln can be quite handy, assuming you can roll 3-ups, which I could not last night. So yeah. So certainly I think so my new custodies list, just for people who are interested, that I've been working on with Nick and with Shane. It's annoying that I have to spend 600 points to run a battalion. And so I'm trying to play pure custodies. So, and then inevitably at least 150 to 300 points is spent sitting on backline objectives. So I've decided to drop the battalion and run a spearhead and a vanguard, and I can take more of the things that I really want to take, and I probably still be able to hold objectives without wasting people at the back on troops. So my new list is a spearhead, Valoris, triple Caladius. Caladius are usually standing in the back. They can hold a couple of objectives. And then I have a vanguard of a shield captain, the Vexilla, a unit of Aquilon Terminators, and a Achilles Dreadnought, just because I had points and I needed a elite slot. But also, I just walking him up, but he moves 9 inches, that Dreadnought, and he has little mini las cannons and heavy bolters, and he hits like a truck in combat. So I think, and he's super good value for 140. So I think that's actually decent inclusion. And then a unit of 5 bikes. So that gets me my horde, that gets me mobility, that gets me my drop strength 10, that gets me my triple Caladius at the back, a buff engine Valoris, that gets me Vexilla, that gets me so much more than paying for a battalion. And all I have to do is be careful to save 3 CP for Teleport Homer. So Custodes is better with stratagems, but it's not essential. A Tanglefoot here and there, Teleport Homer, that's all you really need. So that's going to be the new list that I'm trying out. All right, let's see. Z Commandant travel up here from T-Dot. Yeah, man. I'm telling you. So in Japan, we traveled everywhere on the bullet train, or what they call the Shinkansen. And we went a 5-hour drive in 2 hours from Tokyo to Kyoto in abject luxury. And this is not a special train. This is how everybody travels in Japan. Nobody needs to drive anywhere when you have freaking bullet trains. And the tickets are cheap, cheaper than Via Rail. It's way more comfortable than Via Rail. Free Wi-Fi, food, beautiful bathrooms, and 50 times faster than Via Rail. Imagine you could go from Toronto to Ottawa on a bullet train in like an hour. You could literally come up for a game, play, and then go back home. Be so awesome. Anyway, let's see. Beer of Hrod, painting my last summon unit of Zangor. Nice. Huraganus, painting my Nurgle, my brother's Knights, Armigers, and my brother's Am Guards. Cool. Russ and Bucks, I do have a bunch of unopened boxes for my Necrons. Yeah, I'll find another project. What's funny is I just finished reading this Sisters book. It's like Sisters against Necrons on like this desert planet. And the Necrons are like super kicking ass. I'm like, this book's not very realistic. Anyway. Strasius, will ETC ever see Forge World? I don't know. ETC's got weird shit going on. Yeah. Israel 99 wounds for Achilles Dreddy. Yeah. Noner 13 waiting, contrast, painting, start, handshake too much, hope, make painting better. Okay, the contrast paints. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm going to pick up some and try some, see what happens, but I don't know. Airbrushing kind of takes care of most of that stuff. So, Russ and Bucks Lol, Israel, it's the same in Italy with the train, but only the super fast ones. The others are always late. Exactly. There's like only little commuter trains that are still old school trains in Japan. All the intercity trains are bullet trains. Every 10 minutes, boom, 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 boom. The other thing is, so like Tokyo and Kyoto are the two ends. So this train pulls into Tokyo. Everybody gets out. There's a whole team of uniformed cleaners and technicians greet you when you arrive. Hope you have a good day. Thank you for the ride. Thank you for riding. Blah, blah, blah. You feel great. You walk off the train. And then they descend on the train like an army of people, clean the whole freaking thing spick and span, turn around all the seats, rotate all the seats. 3 minutes later, they all leave. You get on. To the second, train leaves. Apparently, in whatever 80 years they've been running the Shinkansen, no accidents, and it's never late. If you arrive at your train 1 minute late, you will miss it. So don't arrive. If you go to Japan, don't miss your train. It's just super awesome and efficient, and it's a luxurious way to travel. Anyway, Via Rail really sucks. Anyway, here I got any news, Reg, Apocalypse. No, it's just Apocalypse is coming out, and it's just going to be like a rule supplement for running Apocalypse. If it's good, then we'll try and run an Apocalypse later this year, because we got a lot of shit. So we'll try and run an Apocalypse probably at Chris's house, because he's got like a mansion and a forest in his house. He's got a bouncy castle in his basement. That's how big his house is. So we'll try and hook that up if the Apocalypse rules are pretty good. All right. So we are going to give away these books. So out of fairness, the same person cannot win both books. So if you win the first book, you cannot win the second book. Okay? Got to spread the wealth around. As before, I'm going to ask a skill testing question. And the first person to type in Twitch the correct answer to the question will win the book. It's pretty straightforward. Again, you need to be in Twitch in order to win. I don't checking Facebook or YouTube chats. So, which one should we give away first? As my daughter likes to do right now. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, kiss. So she'll walk up to something. You say, which one do you want? This or this? And then she'll walk up, and then she'll go, And then you'll just see her doing this. Silently doing eeny miny mo. It's really kind of funny, and it goes, and she does that for like 5 minutes because she does this really long one and it involves counting to like 30, and it's pretty funny. Okay, we're gonna do Fire Slayers first. I have no such difficulties making decisions. Okay, so Fire Slayers is the first book up for grabs. This reiterate is a Sigmar book. Okay, Sigmar book. All right, we will be seeing some Fire Slayers. We're gonna get Chris up here to play as Fire Slayers, and that should be pretty cool. So we'll get to that soon. Snoop, welcome. You're just in time for a giveaway. It's almost intentional, I bet. Okay, this will be a pretty easy one. It's not a Sigmar question, so cross game playing. This is an easy one. So first person to answer correctly. What is the name of the Yanari's god? What is the name of the Yanari's god that they birthed from death or whatever? Oh, that's an easy one. Yes, XR91AL. I'm going to call you X-Rail. Is the first person to put Yanid, and that is correct. So you will be winning the Fire Slayers book. So XR, I'm going to call you XR. You just need to message me on Facebook or somewhere. Not on Twitch. This messaging really sucks. Message me on Facebook, and you will, and then just take a screenshot or something of you winning, and then give me your name and address, and I'll mail that out to you. Congratulations, Fire Slayers. All right. It's not a very big book, by the way, so it wouldn't cost very much postage, but there's not much in here for the old Fire Slayers. All right, Nick Blackburn, you scrub. You had to look that up. All right, next giveaway. The Hedonites of Slaanesh, otherwise known as Slaanesh. So here we go. Nice, whatever that is, demonette on the front. This book is a little bit bent, apparently. So Barney plays Slaanesh, which was already secretly good. And this book makes them a little bit bent, apparently. But anyway, we'll see. We'll get Barney over for a game as well. So here we go. Hedonites of Slaanesh, Battle Tome, going up. Again, first person to type the answer correctly in Twitch will win. Are you ready for your skill testing question? Hang on a minute. Oh, I lost the page. Hang on a second. Oh, sorry. I'm totally crapping out. Okay. So, the new Assassin's rules in the White Dwarf, there's a stratagem which lets you gain 2 command points if you kill a character, or 3 for the Warlord. What's the name of that stratagem? In the White Dwarf rules for the Assassins, there's a stratagem that lets you gain 2 command points for killing a character and 3 for killing the Warlord with your Assassin. What is the name of that stratagem? Boom. 2 White Dwarf questions. How topical. I personally don't like rules being in White Dwarfs. I think it just provides yet another source that you have to carry around with you and you can't get it now, so that is just a bad idea. I really dislike having rules in White Dwarf. But anyway, it's too late now. They got rules in White Dwarf, and it sounds like something you're going to keep doing, so better subscribe. But yeah, it's just a bad idea. All right, Nick Blackburn, you Googled it faster than anybody else. Priority Threat Neutralized is the name of that stratagem. Nick, I'm not going to mail this to you. You better come pick it up. All right, Nick has won Slaanesh Fire Slayer, Slaanesh Battle Tome. Congratulations, Nick. All right. The boss is down. So that is it for tonight. I'm going to tell you guys before we leave what we got going on. Obviously, this weekend is long weekend, so have a good long weekend. Next week, I'm going to be playing a CanHammer on Tuesday all day. We're trying to squeeze in a couple of games. Francois will be down here. We're going to play some Sigmar. And if anyone else wants to come down on Tuesday, play a game in the afternoon, or 2 or 3 people want to come and we can get 2 tables going, come to my house, we'll play some games. We'll be streaming some CanHammer, and that'll be probably our stream for the week. I'll try and fit one in at nighttime somewhere. Yeah. Let's see. I could probably fit one in Tuesday night. All right, we're also going to do a stream on Tuesday, as yet to be determined. If anybody local wants to play on Tuesday night, let me know. And then we're going to do CanHammer TV again next week on Wednesday. Talk about stuff, probably a bit of shorter, but I'll give you a CCBB update because we've had our meeting on Friday. And that's about it. We got a nice game coming out next week on the YouTube. And stay tuned. Follow our Facebook for all the latest news about Capital City Bloodbath. Okay, so thanks very much for watching, guys, and I'll catch you guys next time.